Hey YouTube, this is Bill. I've done a whole bunch of videos on the S1 Pros, so I thought I would move on and do some on the L1 Pro 32, the new top of the line Bose system out there. So it's kind of like an unboxing. Here's what the box looks like. This is your power stand. You have your columns in one bag. This is called the sub-match cable and your power cable. So what I'm reviewing here today is the Pro 32 Sub 1 model. So here's the Sub 1. Comes with a slip cover, very thin, but it does do the basic protection. Here's your column bag. Again, both columns fit into one bag for an easy carry. And here is your base unit bag. Fits nicely, good fit. For the mobile musician, this is pretty incredible. Buskers, I'm talking to you too. This is a high-powered unit, over 120 dB. It projects incredibly long distance, and the sound is Bose, well-known, incredible high-end, and the subwoofer is wonderful for the size. So if you look at the three packages, this is just incredibly a mobile system. This is one of the reasons why people will pay a little more for Bose. In my opinion, it's worth it. When you take these three pieces, put them together, you have an incredible full range system. And I want to mention, I'm going to put it together right now. It's literally within less than 5 minutes to put this together. So all the people on the deciding, do they want to keep their old point and shoot system, 2 speakers, 2 poles, a mixer, a subwoofer, and all the cables that go with it, you got to think about 5 minutes, if that's a factor. And of course, the lightweight. People who are trying to fit a huge, the old 18-inch subwoofer in their car, this is just so handy, and the form factor takes up very little room on stage. Again, you'll see that once it's set up. Of course, it's not going to perform like an 18-inch subwoofer, but for its size, it performs. Should mention in the beginning, I have no affiliation with Bose, so I'm going to give you the rundown, the plus and minuses of the system. I'm not going to hold anything back. Okay, so here is your base unit, and it's great. It's just super lightweight. It's heavy duty, some type of plastic, but it's just so easy to pick up. I am a owner of the previous system, the L1 Model 2 B2 module, which is a wonderful system, still have it. But again, this is so much lighter. So one of the downsides is this unit sits on the floor like this, and people who are gigging are stating that you got to be really careful. Customers can walk by and step on this pricey electronics, so you have to be careful. Another downside of this unit is how it sits horizontally on the floor, and it's a dust collector. So I'm covering mine. It doesn't come with any type of base cover. It would be nice if Bose made something. I just rig something up with plastic just to keep the dust off. Here's a closer up shot of the base unit. It does come with a 3-channel mixer, which again is a big upgrade from the last L1 Model 2, which had basically no mixer. So for a singer, guitarist, small gigs, you don't really need to bring a mixer anymore. Of course, Bose is selling their tone match mixer, which people love, but that's another couple of $100 more. So you have channel 1, you have bass and treble control only. So again, in my book, that's a big downside. I don't know why they didn't include mids, but I find I need it. So I'm having to use an app from my phone, which with the price of this unit, I don't think that should be necessary. Channel 2 is the same. You have a combi jack, can accept mic level or instrument, which is great. And then you have channel 3, Bluetooth. Again, big upgrade from the last system.
Bose actually, I believe on their compact unit, they were selling a little outboard Bluetooth module that you had to carry around separately. So now everything's built in. And you have an auxiliary 1/8 jack, and you have a 1/4 inch jack on channel 3. You have a tone match port, which I personally don't use. I love the power button. It's just so nice. You just touch it and it goes right on. You have a line out jack, which I'll show you in a little while. And I want to go back to the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth is excellent. Other units that I have to go through the process. Each time I come to the unit, I have to go to my settings and reboot it up. The Bose technology, I'm using multiple devices. I can use my phone, my tablet. Each one that I take out, as soon as I open up my music, the Pro32 is connected. So it's very, very good Bluetooth connectivity. Okay, let's talk about the line out jack. So right here I have a cable. Here is XLR female that plugs into the line out jack. The other side is TRS 1/4 inch. In my case, I'm running it to a S1 Pro for some side fill. Make sure you use the TRS into the S1 Pro. You don't want to use XLR to XLR. You're going to lose some dBs, 6 dB loss, so you definitely want this particular cable. I also use my line out to go to another subwoofer. So in that case where you need that much larger subwoofer, you can always line out to your 18-inch subwoofer from your DJ days. Here are your column bags. In the foreground here is the Pro32 column bag. You have both columns fit into one bag, which is very convenient. But I'm going to give you a heads up right now. The bag is very, very thin. I've seen pictures on the internet of people who already have a dent in their columns. The columns are made of a thin aluminum compared to the older, much heavier duty metal that was used in the L1 Model 2. So even though this system is super portable because of the weight, Bose couldn't get that weight down by magic. They had to use a lighter material. So you really have to baby this system. This is one of the downsides of this system. Be careful. This system, I've seen photos of people have dented equipment. So in my own use, I have my L1 Model 2 bag, which is a little thicker, a little more heavy duty, but I have to use two of them. But I don't mind. I'd rather carry two bags that are a little more protection than the one bag that it comes with that is very thin. Again, your personal choice. If you still have your L1 Model 2 bags, which I do. Step number 1, so I took my first column out of the bag, which is the lower column, plugged it into the base unit, took all of a couple of seconds. Push down, make nice firm contact. But one of my cons for this system is right here, the connection. Again, the previous L1 Model 2 had something called a bayonet system. And it was nice, heavy duty metal, and it just slid right in. This works fine, but it's just a little, not as quite as secure as that previous system. Again, the previous system was much heavier, a lot of heavy duty metal. But then again, that's why so many people still have their L1 Model 2s after all these years. I know mine is in perfect shape. I guess how many years has it been? 10 years plus? Second column plugs in to the first column. Again, another couple of seconds from the bag to the unit, and we're done. Basically, this is your whole array system, and the array system is very tall. I believe it's close to 8 feet tall, and that's what makes it so effective. Its projection compared to other column arrays that are shorter. This gets over the head of your audience, where some column arrays are much shorter, and the sound gets absorbed by the dancers, the bodies in front of it. This does not have that issue. You have 16 small drivers in the top unit, similar to the Pro 16, and then you have another 16 small drivers, 2-inch drivers in the bottom unit. And when you add up all those units and get 32 drivers, the projection and the volume is wonderful. With this particular
B sub 1 unit, you're getting 124 max dB, which is huge. Again, look at how small this system is. 3 pieces put together in less than 5 minutes, and I can get 124 decibels. That's just unheard of in years past. Again, being completely honest, since I don't work for Bose, I'm giving you all the little details that they would not tell you. Right here is where the 2 columns meet. It kind of sticks. You have to kind of wiggle it back and forth to get the 2 columns to disengage. I didn't have that issue with the previous Model 1, Model 2, B2 module. That, again, with that bayonet system, it just slid right in and locked. This plastic connectors, you have to be very careful. So if you wobble it the wrong way, I could see those connectors cracking or breaking. So again, a little heads up warning. The base unit, that's even more of an issue. When it was new, it was really stuck in there. I had a very hard time disengaging the bottom column from the base unit. And to this day, even though it's broken in at this point, I still have to put 1 foot on the base unit, which I don't like doing. You know, you're playing outside, you got muddy shoes. I'm not so crazy about that. But I put 1 foot on the base unit, and then again, you have to wobble it back and forth, and it disengages. Here is the sub 1 sub module. Nice heavy duty metal grill. And I want to say, even though this is a very light unit, 35.5 pounds, which is about the lightest on the market. There's maybe one other unit in the 30-pound range that is still considered a subwoofer. They use a nice heavy-duty plastic. I don't know what they call it, some kind of polypropylene or something, but I can see this as being very durable on the road, hard to dent, scratch up. They give you that simple cover, but I see this as a very durable material. Okay, let's continue with our connections. I'm not actually timing it right now, but this is all part of that under 5-minute process. So here you have your 1 power cable. In my case, I'm running it to a portable power station. If you're interested about that, I can give you the link, or you can watch the previous video I've done on it. It's wonderful. It runs this whole system without AC power outdoors, battery powered. Okay, so next you want to plug in your sub pass-through cable right here. Very simple, because again, Bose does the foresight of color matching it for us. So here is my first sub match connection to the base unit, and it's black to black, and then it goes to the subwoofer on the other side, and you have gray, and they've color coded it gray on the subwoofer. Again, once you've done this, your 5-minute or less subwoofer and array setup time is over, less than 5 minutes. I want to give a shout out to Bose. This is one of the technologies that no other company is matching right now. Bose came up with this, and this sub-match cable where you're able to not use any power. So if you look at the subwoofer, there is no power cable. And when you look at my power source, I'm only using 1 input, and that's from the base unit. I don't need to plug, I don't have to look for another AC outlet for the subwoofer. So this is really unique to Bose. It's super quick. I love the way it snaps in. It's very reassuring. It tells you that it's connected. You hear a nice little click on both sides. So this to me is a huge plus. So this whole system is 2 cables. 1 cable to connect the base unit to the subwoofer called sub-match cable, and then 1 cable, power cable. Now, here's the downside. The sub-match cable, if you like to add another subwoofer, which you can, to double it up, costs $100. That's kind of pricey for 1 cable, but again, it's that Bose technology. Nobody else has it. And the other thing that I'm not so happy about is the cable is very short. It's only 1 or 2 meters. It's kind of short of a cable, but Bose, their comeback is they want the subwoofer to be in close proximity to the array for the best sound. But in certain people's situations, they would like to be able to run that subwoofer in a different location, especially DJs. Maybe they want to run a second subwoofer under another table somewhere. And right now, as we speak, There is no other sub-match cable in different lengths available. Let's talk about the sub-1 connections. So one of the great pluses of this system in comparison to the other Pro systems that Bose is offering, the Pro 8 and the Pro 16, is right here. And that is the subwoofer has a level control that all real subwoofers have. You cannot do that with the Pro 8 or Pro 16. So in my book, this is a huge selling factor. And I have it set at 11 o'clock. That's a good spot for it. It sounds very well integrated with your array. But I have been able to test this sub 1, and I was able to crank it all the way to about 3 o'clock, and I was still not clipping red yet. So it was really booming at that volume. Of course, it probably didn't sound the best. I probably was starting to get a little too much bass compared to the array, but I just want to emphasize that, especially after the firmware update Bose sent out recently, this subwoofer has a lot of headroom. I wouldn't be playing it at 3 o'clock. The D10, 12 o'clock is probably where Bose has engineered it to be the best. Personally, I'm playing it at about 11 or even 10:30. So another great reason why you want to get a subwoofer with a volume control is when you are gigging in front of an audience, when you start out with a lot of patrons, a lot of guests, you have a lot of bodies in front of the musicians. Bodies soak up or absorb dBs, some of your volume. So you might want to turn it up a little higher when you have a lot of guests to start your show. Toward the end of the evening, as the audience is thinning out, maybe the bass is too loud at that point, and maybe you need to back it off a little for it to sound proper. So to me, this is a very important feature. Okay, let's get to the downside. Bose had 10 years to come up with this new system, and they have improved it greatly. But where is the Bluetooth connection on this subwoofer? I was looking for it. JBL has Bluetooth. EV has Bluetooth, and this does not. And they can't just do that through a firmware update. I don't believe that's going to happen. So we might have to wait another 10 years for Bose to catch up in this department. If you've seen some of my other videos, I think this is a big minus. I think Bluetooth on a subwoofer is great, where you can adjust your subwoofer from the audience perspective 30 feet away. You can walk out into the audience and you can hear if the bass needs to be turned up or down. Some people have a comeback saying, oh, but you can adjust the bass on the unit. Well, that's true, but when you adjust the bass, now you're affecting your array sound too. So that's not what I want to do. I want a separate subwoofer control wirelessly from a Bluetooth, and other companies have it. This one does not. Okay, let's go on to the pluses here. On the back of the subwoofer, you have a HPF right here, high pass filter, which many subwoofers don't have. The EV I was just talking about, they don't have that. And what that means is you can send your signal into the subwoofer first, and from the outs of the subwoofer, you go into your tops, and that alleviates a lot of the strain on the tops where you can play at higher decibels at a cleaner level. And Bose has a system where you just press this L1 system, and when you press it, you press this to HPF, high pass filter, everything is set up for you. Again, Bose technology, it's just super clean, super fast, big plus in the Bose column. Of course, the teardown, the exact opposite. About 5 minutes, everything's in their bags, separate bags, and you're ready to pack it up in the car. So again, incredibly quick, incredibly compact setup, and my number one most important feature for myself, incredibly light. So let's talk about this particular setup. This is called the Pro32 Sub 1 package, $2,700. The Sub 1 is the decision people have to make. Do you want to go with the Sub 1 or a Sub 2? I would probably say, what I've seen and read on the forums, most people are going with the larger unit, the Sub 2. But I just want to state very clearly, I've seen people on YouTube, singer-songwriter, one guitarist and one vocalist, and then I see next to them the Sub 2. It is really not necessary. You're not going to use the low end of the sub 2, very low 37 hertz compared to the 40, tapping on getting acoustic sounds from an acoustic guitar. It's just, this goes down low enough. A vocalist, of course, you're not going to need anything more than this particular performing subwoofer. But on the other hand, of course, if you're playing your hip hop, DJing, percussion, then the sub 2 is the way to go. So I've said this in other videos. If you're interested and you're torn which way to go, sub 1 or sub 2, I have all kinds of videos I put out about the S1 Pro with the sub 1. Check out those videos. So again, in my particular case, I was looking for the most mobile micro system. This is the way to go, the sub 1. The sub 1 is a real subwoofer. It really performs. I would say it's comparable to all the other competitors out there with the 12-inch subwoofer, 12-inch woofer. But this has the weight advantage of 36 pounds, where the other competitors, I'm thinking of EV, RCF, they all start at about 42 pounds. And then they go up from there, 42, and then they jump to 60 pounds. So this is a very lightweight unit, easily packed in the car. And the subwoofer is higher performing. I do have the EV30 Model M, very familiar. I do love that system. It's less money, but the bass bin or the bass unit doesn't compare to this sub 1. The columns this also plays louder. I didn't mention the Bose has 180-degree dispersion. So I've been playing and doing a lot of testing in my home, and I have some high ceilings. They go up, 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 up. High cathedral ceilings, large living room area I've been testing this in, and the Pro32 incredibly fills the space with one speaker. There is no reason, in my situation, that I would need 2 speakers. Of course, stereo always will sound better, give you even more coverage, especially outdoors. But for most people's use, a lot of people, again, on YouTube, I see them using 2 Pro32 units, DJs, and they have one on one side of their DJ table and the other. Well, that looks great. Of course, they might need the extra dBs to fill up a huge wedding area, but they're defeating the purpose of the dispersion. They have the speakers too close together, and one is canceling out the other. So for most people, I'll just state it again because it's so important, acoustic musicians, vocalists, this particular system is, in my opinion, the way to go. You save a couple of $100 by going with the smaller subwoofer, much more portable. In my case, I'm going to be using it a lot more. And again, if you haven't seen the other videos, I do have the sub 2. In my case, it was probably a mistake because I do have other subwoofers that equal the sub 2. But it's a wonderful subwoofer. Think of 2 of these sub 1s would have to equal the sub 2. Just in my case, I need the lighter system so I could use it more often, much more easy. When you purchase the Pro32 system, this is something that will be missing, this tangle of cables. The Pro32 system has one sub-match cable and one power cable to your AC. This is from a traditional point and shoot system where you have 2 tops. Each top needs a power source, power cable. You need 2 XLR cables to your mixer. You need a power cable from the mixer to AC. What a mess. I don't miss this. So this is what we're talking about. On the left, you have your traditional point source speaker compared to a column array like the new Bose. So I just want to go from my own personal experience, my previous system, which I still have and still will use for certain occasions. So I have 2 tops, small 10-inch tops. Each one is lightweight at 29 pounds each. So that's basically 60 pounds just for the tops. Then, of course, you need your 2 speaker stands. Then I have a lightweight subwoofer, which is 42 pounds, about the lightest you can get, that produces good output, 12-inch subwoofer. Of course, that needs an AC cable for the subwoofer. Then I have my mixer.
the mixer needs an AC cable, and the mixer needs some kind of table. I don't carry a table. Usually a venue has something to put it on, but you do have to figure that into the mix that the Pro32 you don't have to worry about. Then from the mixer, you need your 2 XLR cables to each top. I use 15-foot cables, so that's 15 feet on the left, 15 feet on the right. And then I need 1 subwoofer cable connecting the subwoofer to the mixer. So when you look at it, when you're setting it up, when you're tearing it down, the Pro32, as I stated, a 5-minute, less than 5-minute setup and tear down is a huge difference compared to your traditional system. Just yesterday, I was at a gig and I was running a little late, so I had my array columns in the one bag. I was using the one bag this time. I had the bass unit in the one bag. I had the sub 1 in one bag in the back of my van, and because I was running late, I don't usually do this. I grabbed the subwoofer in my right arm, my right hand, and I grabbed the array bag and the bass bag in my left hand, and that's how I brought it out. Everything in one trip. I was amazed. It wasn't easy. I mean, it was some weight there. It was a workout, but it was done in one trip. The whole system. Here's what it kind of looked like. Let's talk a little about the app. The app is a big step forward for Bose. I love it. The fact that you can Bluetooth control it from a distance, and whatever you do on the app, it automatically does the same exact and mimics it on the bass unit, which is interesting technology. The app is well lit up. One of the things I mentioned in the past is a kind of a downside, but not a huge factor, is on the bass unit, it has hash marks that light up. If you're in the sunlight, you can't see those hash marks. It's very hard to see compared to traditional knobs that you turn and have designated 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock position. That's just something you should be aware of. But I did mention that as a downside, I believe a downside of this system, maybe Bose in the future, when they come out with their next model, Pro32 version 2, they really need a mid control. Now, their comeback is they do have a mid control on their tone match mixer, but not everybody wants to purchase another $500 unit. And the whole idea in my book and many other mobile musicians and DJs, they want to go light. They don't want to carry more pieces. So anyway, it's nice. They have a good 2-channel mixer. Here you see they have treble and bass and reverb, but in my opinion, they're missing the critical mid-range. And of course, again, I mentioned other companies, EV in particular, they have a full, on their app, they have a full EQ control. I believe it's 10 bands, and Bose, it's missing, and I do think that's a weakness. This is a nice comparison chart of the L1 Pro systems that Bose has put out. So let's take a look at some of the specs. So here I'm looking at the system I've been talking about mainly, the L1 Pro 32 sub 1, and it has peak output of 123 dB, and then we go over here to the sub 2 package, and it increases to 128 dB. So if you need that extra volume, especially for the players who are playing outdoors, that is a difference. That is considerable difference. Let's go over here to the Pro 16, and it's 124 dB. So it's the sub 1 package is 1 dB less, not noticeable. Let's talk about the subwoofer performance. Up here again is the sub 1, goes down to 40 hertz, which is nice and low, nice and punchy. It's like I mentioned many times before in other videos, it's a real subwoofer. It's not a mid-bass module, which I consider the previous sub 2 V2 to be. Here is the sub 2. On the other hand, it goes down to 37 hertz. So 37 compared to 40, it is an audible difference for the hip hop players, For the drummers like myself, it is a noticeable difference where you want that couple of extra hertz of low end. Many people will want that larger subwoofer. They're willing to carry the extra weight for that extra low end. Going back to the Pro 16, which is an interesting statistic here, even though it has the same racetrack driver as the Sub 2, the 10.18, right here, 10.18 driver, it's the same driver, but it goes down to only 42 hertz compared to 37. And that is because of the cabinet. The Sub 2 cabinet is much larger, and the acoustics of bass, the larger the cabinet, the more low end produced. So when you compare the Sub 1 compared to the Pro 16, even though the Sub 1 has the smaller woofer, it actually goes lower. So that was a surprising statistic in my findings. So again, I see 40 hertz here for the Sub 1 and 42 for the Pro 16. So many people are under the misconception that the Pro 16 performs in the same vein as the Sub 2, and that's not correct. 42 hertz compared to 37 is a considerable difference. Also, let's take a look at the wattage. Right here, the Pro 16, the array, the mid-high array has 250 watts, and then when you jump up to the Pro 32 series, it jumps up to 480 watts. Again, that difference, when you're performing outside, the Pro 32, and of course the number of drivers, but the drivers are equal to the Pro 16, it gives you that much more throw. I believe it's I think I read somewhere it's about at least 10 more feet. So if the Pro 16 goes to 20 feet, Pro 32 will give you 30 feet. Let's jump down here to something very important in my decision. Here is the weight. So here is the weight of the Sub 1, 35.5 pounds. I consider that a featherweight for its performance. And then if you are willing to carry the extra bulk and the weight, you jump up to the Sub 2, 51.7, or basically 52 pounds. But like I said, I'm not carrying 52 pounds in one arm. That's not easy. The Sub 1 was manageable. Right here we see the Bose has 180 degrees horizontal coverage. This has been a selling point for Bose for many years. The competition has tried to catch up on the closest column array other column array from another company that I purchased has 120 degrees dispersion. So again, Bose is still in the lead. And dispersion means is how much audience you can cover. Give you an idea, compared to the traditional point and shoot system. My 8-inch top has a wide inch dispersion of 90 degrees. And here the column array has 180, twice the amount of coverage. So think about your audience in front of you. You can cover twice the number of people to the left and right. I didn't mention that the Pro 32 system has a built-in mixer with tone match presets. And again, I didn't emphasize that too much because I am not a vocalist or a guitarist, acoustic guitarist especially, but maybe we can get some feedback from some of those people. But I've heard it's a good system. Again, it's a big upgrade from the L1 Model 2 that had nothing like that built in. Here we see it does have some EQ built in. It has live music recorded. I've been playing it on music mainly because I'm playing backing tracks. I did try the other EQ settings. They do sound different, each one. Over here we see that it has phantom power. Again, I'm not using that. I'm not a vocalist, but that's a plus. Not all systems have phantom power built in. And it has a tone match port, and again, I don't use that personally. Okay, wrapping up this video. So the main reason I made this video was for the people who are on the fence. They're deciding, should I get the Bose system? It is pricey. Bose has always been pricey compared to other systems, but they have their followers who are willing to pay the extra for the features that Bose has that the competition doesn't. This particular page has the more expensive, the highest price system they produce, and that is the Pro32 Sub 2 module, $3,100. And then here's the system I've been talking about, a little less expensive. If you don't need that extra low end, the Sub 1 package for $2,700. It's your decision. I bought both, so I'm covered in all situations. I got the Sub 2 for playing outdoors, and when I'm playing electronic drums, definitely needed. But I think for the majority of my use, especially for mobile use, that's mainly what I bought this system for. The Sub 1 is going to meet my needs. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped some people decide which way to go, or if they should even buy this system. If you're still not sure, I'm going to be producing another second video, like a part 2, and I'm going to go over some of the competition, some other column arrays, and the traditional point source speakers in this price range. So that should be pretty interesting. And again, it's kind of a hard decision. It's a lot of money, so you definitely want to spend the money properly, because when you do buy a system, most people have it for a number of years. I know I do. I keep my systems for a long time. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thumbs up. See you next time.